Greetings, my name is Jeff Woolsey. I'm a Principal Program Manager at Microsoft, and it's really a pleasure to be here to talk to you about managing Windows Server in Azure using Windows Admin Center. Well, I've got a lot of content, so let's get started. First off, let's talk about the Windows Server last 25 years of innovation. We introduced Windows NT4, which really enabled server for the masses. Of course, Windows Server 2000 brought us enterprise and foundational technologies like Active Directory. Windows Server 2008 moved us into the data center era, offering virtualization in the OS with Hyper-V, server core installation option, and much more. Windows Server 2012 brought us into the cloud era with software storage and networking, coupled with PowerShell and opening the door to any app on any cloud. Windows Server 2016 added more security and efficiency to on-premises IT systems and support for systems moving to cloud, and really added hyperscale. With 2019, we've really been enabling and growing the hybrid data center, and as we look forward to Windows Server V next, it's really about hybrid everywhere. So, as we kind of think about how Windows Server has transformed and has grown with the times, it's really been driven by you. What are the features, what are the capabilities that you've needed? And we've added those and we've delivered those in Windows Server over time. And it's shown. And in fact, if you look at the operating system itself, we've added new capabilities, new consoles, new tools over the time. Whether it was Task Manager, Resource Monitor, Perfbond, Device Manager, PowerShell Console, Event Viewer, Windows Update, of course the File Explorer, Hyper-V Manager, Server Manager, or more, you can see that we've grown and changed with the times and added different tools. And you know what? Quite honestly, we could use some better integration. And on the Windows Server side, again, this is if you're using the graphical user interface. Of course, if you're using Server Core, which we introduced way back in Server 2008, well, it looks like this. So you can see we have two very different choices. You've got Windows Server with the graphical user interface, and you've got Windows Server Core. And this is management before Windows Admin Center. And what we really want to do is we want to provide a modern, integrated, and simplified way to manage your Windows servers wherever they're running, and whether you're running Windows Server with the graphic interface or with running it with Server Core, it really shouldn't matter because you should be managing it remotely anyways. And so that's what brought us to delivering and developing Windows Admin Center. It's integrated, it's modernized, and it's simplified. And in terms of the tools that you need, well, first of all, we want to be able to make sure that you can manage all of your servers and clusters, whether it's running Windows Server 2012, 2019, or Azure Stack HCI, and whether it's running servers or clusters. We want to provide you the tools that you need, whether it's managing your certificates, your devices, your events, your storage, your virtual machines, your system insights, your storage migration service, or more. We want to make sure that all of your familiar tools are just a click away. And we want them in one place. And so if you haven't used Windows Admin Center, I urge you, once we're done with this session or a little bit later today after you've watched other sessions, make sure that you download and you start using Windows Admin Center. And by the way, the price is right. The price is actually no charge at all. And with Windows Admin Center, we can streamline your everyday tasks. And again, we can connect to your Windows Server anywhere. And this is an important point. Whether Windows Server is running on a physical machine, whether it's running on-premises or in the cloud, whether it's running in a virtual machine, whether it's Hyper-V or in Azure, or even on another virtualization platform like VMware, it doesn't matter. As long as we can actually communicate with the OS, with Windows Server, we can manage it. Well, you know what? Enough talk. Let me actually give you a quick tour of Windows Admin Center. So if you've never seen Windows Admin Center before, I thought I'd give you a quick tour before showing you off some of the new cool stuff in integration with Azure. So first of all, I'm running Windows Admin Center on my local PC. This is just running Windows 10. And I'm going to connect to some servers running remotely. And in fact, you can see below here, I've got a couple of clusters and a number of servers. These are all running remotely back at the Microsoft Office and in a couple of other different places, even some running in Azure. Now, at the moment, I want to add another server. So all I have to do is click on Add, and you can see I can add servers, I can add clusters, and Azure VMs. In my case, I'm just going to add a standalone server. I'm going to keep this very simple. And in fact, I'm just going to paste in the server name. This is Silvernode 2 that I'm looking for. I could also import a list from a text file or search Active Directory. In my case, I'm just going to click on Add, and you can see there is the server I just added, Silvernode 2. So all I have to do is click on it. It's going to connect using my credentials that I logged in with. And guess what? Right off the bat, I have the overview page. Here you can see the computer name, domain, operating system, and a whole bunch more. I can see real-time updates for CPU, memory, and networking. And if you think about the traditional tools, this is what you'd normally see in Task Manager and System Property and a few other places. Well, here we've put all of those intelligently in one place, making it really easy. If I wanted to change the name of the computer, for example, edit the computer ID, all I have to do is click on Edit Computer ID. I can change the domain, the workgroup, or even the name of the computer, all remotely, all using Admin Center. Now, of course, Admin Center has a number of tools built right in, and you can see every one of these on the left-hand side. And spoiler alert, every one of these tools is actually a plugin. When we first launched Windows Admin Center a few years ago, there was about a half a dozen tools. Well, you can see over time, as we've been adding more and more to your favorite management tool, guess what? Wow, it has so many tools now that we had to put on a scroll bar. And in fact, we've made this open and extensible so our partners, our server partners, and others can plug right in to Windows Admin Center. Now, right over under the overview, you can see we have a bunch of Azure hybrid connectivity tools like the Azure Backup, Extended Network, File Sync, Monitor, Security Center, and more. So we've actually built in a whole bunch of hybrid connectivity. But right now I just want to focus on the tools to help manage your servers. And again, this can manage your server wherever it's running. It could be running in Azure, it can be running on a physical machine, it could be running on a virtual machine. In fact, I haven't even told you yet what this server is or where this server is running other than it's running remotely. And I'll get to more of that in just a minute. For example, if I want to look at certificates, I can take a look at an overview of my expired, nearly expired, and other certificates. If I want to look at the ones that are expired, all I have to do is click on it. I can sort by certificate name, by the date it was issued, by its expiration date, all right here and readily available. Or more importantly, if I want to see the ones that are about to expire, that are nearly expired, I can click on here and again get that list. So it allows me to stay on top of any certificates that are potentially going to expire. If I was running containers, I could actually go here and actually start, stop, even create containers using Windows Admin Center. If I wanted to look at the devices on this system, for example, things like storage, monitor, network adapters, even disable or update drivers remotely, I can do all of that from Windows Admin Center. Of course, something that you probably use regularly is the event viewer. And here, some of the most common events that I tend to look at are things like application logs, security, or system logs. So for example, if I want to look at security, you can see here I have over 124,000 security items. Now normally that would be a little concerning seeing that many, but because of the powerful filtering built into Windows Admin Center, all I have to do is come in here and remove the warning, the informational, and verbose. I only want to see the critical errors and click on apply. And just like that, you can see, in fact, oh, there's actually 0 items, nothing to be alarmed about, and I can clear the filter if I want to. So you can see just how powerful this is from an eventing standpoint. And by the way, I should point out that, again, Admin Center is actually communicating with these servers using PowerShell or WMI. Most of the time, it's PowerShell. Once we told people that Admin Center was built on PowerShell, one of the earliest and loudest requests was, we would love to see that PowerShell. So just as a reminder, this has actually been here for some time, but there's a View PowerShell Scripts button. So if you want to see the actual PowerShell we're using in Windows Admin Center, guess what? It's all right here. And you can come in here and look for the PowerShell script. So if you have a repetitive task that you want to script, you can actually copy and paste it and use it yourself. Again, very powerful stuff built right here in Windows Admin Center. If I want to actually look at the file system remotely, well, check this out. You can see I've got 3 volumes for this OS. And in fact, I can click on C and you can see, yep, this is the boot volume. You can see all the directories. If I wanted to create a new folder, for example, just type in a name, click on submit, And just like that, there's the directory I created. And in fact, if I wanted to share this with somebody, guess what? I could come on over here and type in their name or share it with a group and just click on add. Very quick, very easy. Now in my case, I actually don't need this directory, so I'm going to go ahead and head back on here and delete that. Again, doing all of this remotely. I'm not RDPing into the server. I'm not even, I'm not touching the server. I'm not logged into the server. Again, I'm doing all of this from my Windows 10 system, which is how you should be managing your servers. And again, this server could reside anywhere. Now, of course, one of the most popular tools is the virtual machine tool. And here I am. This is the virtual machines. Of course, this is Hyper-V VMs. Now, this is a relatively small server, so there's not a lot running on here. But you'll notice if I wanted to add a new virtual machine, I'd come in here and click on New, and actually just fill it out. Create a new virtual machine, give it a name, give it a path, assign processors, memory, all of those things. And in no time flat, I can have a brand new virtual machine. If I want to connect to a virtual machine, for example, if I wanted to connect to this VM, I could download an RDP file and run a local client. I could actually connect to it in an RDP window. If I wanted to save or shut down or turn off or reset or pause this VM, I could do all of that from here. And you can see all of this readily available here in the virtual machines tool. The last thing I also want to point out is just keep in mind, of course, Admin Center is the future for all Windows Server UI. And this is really an important point. I've been telling folks for years now, as we build new features into Windows Server, for example, Windows Server has a bunch of new features like the storage migration service and a feature called System Insights. Well, if you're looking for the UI for this within Windows Server, you won't find it. That's because the UI for System Insights is all built into Windows Admin Center. Again, I can't underscore this enough. All new UI for Windows Server is going into Windows Admin Center so that it can be managed remotely. And in fact, what this feature allows you to do with System Insights is this is some lightweight predictive analytics. And in fact, I'm actually using this to monitor my CPU capacity, my network capacity forecasting, physical disk anomaly detection, total storage consumption, and volume consumption forecasting. In fact, let's go ahead and click on that and take a look at what that actually looks like. So you can again see I have 3 volumes, C, D, and E. Oh, I'm sorry, C, D, and F. And you can see the forecast for the C volume is doing pretty well. I'm at about 50%. You can see that my D volume was pretty full and then had a sharp drop off. And in fact, if you look by the dates, it looks like what I was actually doing was I copied that over from D to F. And in fact, you can see there was a sharp rise as that information came. And you can see over time, it's forecasting how I'm going to actually use storage on this volume and at what point I'm going to run out of storage. And the whole point is it's predictive to actually prevent any sort of issues like running out of storage, and actually do this as a preventative measure as opposed to, hey, guess what, I got to put out an issue or put out a fire because I've run out of storage. So lastly, before I finish this demo, one thing I wanted to point out is, again, I told you Admin Center can manage your servers anywhere. Could be running on physical, could be running on virtual, could be running on Hyper-V, could be running as inside a VMware VM. It doesn't matter where Windows Server is running. But the other thing I wanted to point out is it also doesn't matter what I'm running in terms of the OS. Is this Windows Server with the full GUI, or in fact, is this server core? And in fact, this whole time I've been running this demo, it's against Windows Server running core, because that's how you really should be running Windows Server. We really recommend that you do this. In this case, I've been doing all of these things using Admin Center, but I've been managing server core, but all of that ease of use right there in Admin Center. And so I could make all of those changes, I could configure and modify and do all of this remotely. So whether I'm running full server with the GUI or I'm running server core, Windows Admin Center is the right tool for you. So that was your quick demo of Windows Admin Center, and let's briefly talk about deployment. Because one of the things I do, I tend to demo Admin Center a lot, and people look at it and go, wow, that's really cool, but that must be complicated. I probably have to install and download and run a bunch of different things, like do I need to install a web server or IIS? No, you don't need to do any of that. It's a single executable, you simply install it, and you're ready to go. And in fact, we offer flexible deployment options. So for example, In this demo, you actually saw me running it off a Windows 10 system. It's just my laptop. So I installed it right on my laptop. And by the way, again, IIS isn't needed. And I could manage my servers remotely. And this is great for demos. This is great for test environments, for QA environments, for pre-prod, great. As if you're not using Windows, by the way, so what if I don't have a Windows device, or I have a Mac, for example, or if I don't want to install it on the local client, I could actually install it on one of the servers itself. Because Windows Admin Center is lightweight, I can run it on a managed node. Now, a more common way is to run it on a dedicated server, where you just say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate a Windows server just to running Admin Center. And in this case, people use this again for test dev, pre-production, and staging environments. Generally, what happens is people do this, install it, love it, think it's fantastic, and they go, wait a minute, if I'm going to run this in production, I want this to be HA. Well, no problem. Deploy it on a cluster, and now you have a highly available Windows Admin Center tool. So it's very flexible. All of the demos I'm doing today, by the way, are the first option, just running off my laptop, just to show you just how easy it is. And what's really cool about Windows Admin Center, quite honestly, has been your response. Windows Admin Center has millions of servers under management, and honestly, it's the fastest adopted server management tool in Microsoft history. Honestly, I'm quite humbled by the response and cannot thank you enough. You guys clearly love Windows Admin Center. You've been giving us feedback on user voice, and we continue to add new features constantly and delivering you new updates. And in fact, we've committed to twice a year updates in Windows Admin Center. Sometimes it's even more than that, but at least twice a year updates of Windows Server Admin Center. And you can download it yourself at aka.ms/WAC download. So we love that Windows Admin Center is so loved by you and that we have so many servers under management. But at the same time at Microsoft, we don't let rest on our laurels. We can do more. We want to do a lot more. And we've heard you. And in fact, if I was to summarize really the feedback we've heard from customers about Windows Admin Center, it really is in this next quote. This is from a customer that's using both Azure in the cloud, and of course using Windows Server and Admin Center and more on-prem. And they said, hybrid cloud is our strategy. We've migrated numerous apps to Azure. Exchange and SharePoint are migrated to M365. Our on-premises AD is synced to Azure Active Directory. We're adopting containers, and there are several apps that will need to run in VMs for the foreseeable future. We would love to see Admin Center in Azure to manage our Windows Server and Azure IaaS. Well, you know what? We agree. So you got it. Here it is. I'm really excited to show you what we've been doing to make Azure the best place to run Windows Server. That starts by bringing your favorite management tool to Azure, Windows Admin Center. Let's take a look. Here I am in Azure, and I'm going to go ahead and select a virtual machine. You'll notice here in the left-hand side under Settings, I have a new option for Windows Admin Center. And all I have to do is simply connect to Windows Admin Center, and you can see we brought your favorite tool here to Azure. You can see real-time updates here in the overview page for CPU, memory, networking, and more. If I want to be able to review certificates, for example, have anybody ever have a certificate that expired? Ooh, I sure would like to take a look at those before that happens. If I'd like to take a look at events, for example, and take a look at how I'm doing from a security standpoint, I can easily click on security. I can come over here and I can actually filter out the verbose events. I only want to see the critical errors. And in fact, I've got 0, so everything's great there. But the most requested feature by far has been the ability to remote in to a virtual machine. So today in Azure IaaS, you can connect to a VM, and what will happen is it'll download an RDP file and then run it in a local client. But the top request we've had is the ability to actually remote into a virtual machine running on Azure IaaS, but do all of this in a web page. Well, just like that, we've brought that to you in Windows Admin Center, now available in Azure. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Well, now we have Windows Admin Center in Azure in preview. So your favorite server management tool is now available natively in the Azure portal. You can manage your Windows Server VMs on Azure, This gives you granular management, configuration, troubleshooting, and maintenance, and of course, an inline RDP client. And we keep it always up to date with the newest features. And it's now available in private preview at aka.ms/WAC in Portal signup. So, just to recap, Windows Admin Center, your favorite server management tool, keeps getting better. Windows Admin Center in Azure is now available in private preview. And of course, if you haven't downloaded this, if you haven't started using this yet, you can do that right now. Windows Admin Center is available on premises, available at no cost at aka.ms/WAC download. And with that, thank you very much.